Good afternoon from Houston, Texas. How are y'all doing? Yasin, nice to see you. I see your comment. You're welcome. You heard the latest news of Senate passing bills with 51 votes. Is that possible with immigration reform? I thought about that before. I thought it could be possible, but there's a lot of things that Senate Democrats are trying to pass through the reconciliatory way. So I think it'll be quite difficult, but it certainly is possible. I just think it'll be difficult for immigration to go through that way because they're also thinking about the gun control or gun safety and also voting rights to go through the reconciliatory way. I actually listened to some Vox podcast, and they also had some experts talk about that process, and apparently they can amend the American Rescue Plan, the one that they passed already and signed by President Biden, and they can amend that and include other provisions, other types like Voting Rights Act or voting rights in general, those kind of provisions in there. So it's certainly a possibility, but there's still a debate about how many times they can amend the American Rescue Plan to include other things. I just hope that they're able to get bipartisan support on many of these bills, including immigration. And my prediction, if I had to offer one, I know that some people wonder when immigration reform will pass anyway. I think it could, at the earliest, I think it'd be end of summer, end of summer, maybe end of July or August at the very earliest, because they need the border surge, the migrants coming to U.S. That needs to kind of slow down so that Republicans can cool down themselves, because that's really their only talking point to say, oh, we shouldn't pass this because of border security. And so that's why the Senate Republicans want a congressional hearing about the border so that they can use that as more talking points for the media. So it's obviously, we can all agree that it's a horrible situation to see, especially a lot of younger children cross the border, trek all the way through from Central America, and see them in those government facilities. But it's not a perfect system. Even when it was President Trump, it wasn't a perfect system, right? But Trump made it worse because he just kept bashing immigrants, unfortunately. Marlene, nice to see you. So as you can tell, I can just kind of talk all day about immigration. And Sanel, Matthew, nice to see you. You have a question regarding delay by pandemic. Okay, yeah, our team just talked to me about your question, actually. I think you asked it the other day. Calculating. Yeah, so the CSPA stands for Child Status Protection Act. That is one of if age out is one of the issues regarding CSPA. So if you're in a situation that you believe that you have calculated the CSPA age correctly, of course, we're happy to double check for you. But age out concern is a reason to request emergency appointment. So that is available. And so you have to check your specific U.S. consulate or embassy in your country on how to do that. But usually they have some kind of email address, and you want to put in a subject line, emergency request, CSPA, age out, something like that. And of course, provide more information in the email itself. But friends, please tell me where y'all watching from. Let me know how you're doing. It's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. And thank goodness it's 2021. I hope if you are living in America, well, actually anywhere in the world, I hope you've had access to a vaccine. I know some folks are concerned about it in general. I'm not a health expert, obviously, but I just recommend you do your own research, just like immigration or any other topic in politics, anything. There's fake news out there. So you just have to be careful what you read. But from what I researched, it's safe. But there still needs to be studies, right, about the future. But anyway, in terms of immigration, that is what I can talk about. If you have any more questions, please drop it here. In the meantime, Since I don't see any additional questions, I'm going to search, as I always do, if there's any updates with the State Department of State. Okay. So now, hopefully that answered your question, Yasin. Hopefully that answered your question. By the way, friends, if you are new to our channel, then you'll know that, or I will share with you now, is that we offer free 15-minute preliminary discussion. Sometimes some of y'all just have that 1 or 2 questions. We're happy to guide you to the correct pathway or just to the next step. Because sometimes if you already started your process already, you might not need a lawyer. But for you to access that free 15 minutes with our legal team, including myself, you're going to have to share this code down below. It's not so secret, but you have to say Green Card Guys, and that lets us know that you're following us on YouTube or the Facebook page or group. And by the way, if you would like to join our Facebook group, that is the name of it scrolling down below, or you could search Green Card Guys. That should pop up. Okay. So that was 15 minutes, right? But if you do need more time, we do offer 30 minutes and 45 minutes for a paid consultation, and that's at the link below. But either way, you're welcome to call in to this number, 346 number. And if you're at work, you can text real quick so that you don't forget our number. We greatly appreciate it. But if you have time, fill out the intake form down below in the description box. It starts with Ting Law. So what I'll do now, as I'm waiting for if there's any more questions, is I'm going to check the visa bulletin. I'm sorry, not the visa bulletin, but if there's any news with the State Department. And friends, what I'm going to do as a separate video next week, because I already have some videos ready to go for this weekend, I'm going to discuss, for example, the April visa bulletin, the difference in that. I know some other lawyers have already discussed it. I'm going to go straight to the point on that. And also, because the May visa bulletin should be coming up as well pretty soon. And also, let's see, I wrote it down here. I guess I put it in another room, but I'm going to discuss, well, I just had a video yesterday, I believe, about unlawful presence, if you're even eligible to adjust status in America. Most people think if you're here in a preference category that you can adjust in America. That's not always true. The default general rule is actually no, unless you meet some exceptions. So check out that video from yesterday. Let's see here. Samia, let's see if I can answer your question. You heard that Mumbai embassy opened up for F3. You checked your visa status and it says ready. Oh, great. Wonderful. Should I book an interview date or wait for an embassy to contact me? I'm always in the position to say, email them if you can. Depending on the consulate, sometimes attorneys have, we have access to different emails. But if you don't need a lawyer, then try to just email them in the general email address that you have and just check. Did you have your interview ready? Because you said it's ready, visa ready. That means you should be able to get your visa unless it says ready for interview. So, but it sounds like you're still waiting for the interview date. But usually they will send you the date. But, it's still a pandemic situation. So just go ahead and email. It doesn't hurt to email, but don't email them every week because that would just backlog it probably. Okay, hopefully that helps. That's right. So especially also if you're a fiance visa pathway, go ahead and log into the system to check your interview dates because they could be available. We've had some clients in China been able to schedule, and fortunately they've been able to schedule it. It's a huge backlog there. Okay, so I'm also going to discuss, there's some new updates about the visa services. I mentioned this very quickly last time about in general, there's one proclamation that ended March 31st this year, so last week or about 10 days ago, and that allows now people who are processing from H-1B or the J visa, you can now continue with your visa interview and come into the U.S. So that's good. Oh, Samya. So, okay, so that means your visa is ready to be issued itself. You don't need the interview again. Hopefully not. So, I would definitely, in that situation, email them, okay, and see how you can drop off your passport. Yeah, congratulations on your waiver. I'm happy for you because that takes a long time too. You received a letter from embassy in March 2020 asking to book, but then lockdown. Yeah, that sounds about right. So now that sounds like they issued a visa. Well, if you did they have your passport the whole time? Because if they had your passport the whole time, then they said ready, then maybe they already put the visa in your passport. Now you just got to pick it up. But if they didn't, you should have selected already where to pick it up. So, but they're also supposed to send you an email about it. So I would definitely just email them in general. Sounds like that's what you should do. Okay. Good luck to you. Okay. No, they don't. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just email them anyway and hopefully that they'll get that taken care of for you. Congratulations. Do you know where you're moving to? That's always interesting to know. If you finally get your visa, where do you plan to live in America? I'm always interested. I'm in Houston, Texas. Weather's not too bad, but I can say it's definitely not as cold as, like, of course, the East Coast, New York area, or not as chilly as like San Francisco, and definitely not as expensive as those two areas, New York and San Fran. Okay, so I'm at the Department of State website. They have a update about on April 6th about visa services operating status update. So since you're watching, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this now, but if you don't have time to continue watching, we're going to have a separate video only about visa updates at the consulates, okay, in the interview. So so far it looks like they're just saying the same thing as before in terms of the consulate reopenings depend on the country post by post because of the coronavirus. You know, it could be worse in other cities, other countries. So because of that, they have reduced staff, which also means they have reduced appointment slots, appointment times. Okay, so they're saying that anything related to U.S. citizens, so if you're, this could mean immigrant visas for spouses married to a U.S. citizen, or even fiance visas, there it's the highest priority for the United States, for the State Department, which is a wonderful thing. Okay, thank goodness. So they're prioritizing. They're also prioritizing cases for immigrant visas that were previously refused that were refused because of certain proclamations under President Trump the last couple of years. So they're going to revisit those cases, fortunately. So the other thing is, they also say they're going to try their best to resolve the backlog, reduce the backlog. And so that's also good for us to know, because everyone's waiting. The other thing to know is that embassies and consulates that process non-immigrant visas are prioritizing travelers with urgent needs or foreign diplomats, which is probably none of us, mission critical categories of travelers, such as those coming to assist with U.S. response to COVID pandemic, workers who are essential to American food supply. So we're happy to help you with that. And then after that is students, exchange visitors, which is J1, and then some temporary employment visas, which is like H1B. Okay, so let's see. Okay, yep. So including for immediate relative also means for adoptees, adoption cases. So that's good to know. And also certain special immigrant visa applications. Okay, let's see here. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, so another thing though is the COVID travel restriction. Okay, there's still 3 geographic COVID-19 proclamations restricting travel if you've been there for the last 14 days, which makes sense because you're living in that country. So China, Iran, Brazil, UK, Ireland, South Africa, and 26 other countries in the European area, Schengen area. So that's still unfortunate, but I've heard some people in some consulates in those countries have been getting interviews. which is a good thing. So it just, you have to go to another country to bypass the 14-day rule. I've had clients go to Mexico and quarantine there for 14 days before coming into the U.S., which maybe you can use that as a vacation anyway. Other thing to know is that if you had to pay some kind of MRV fee, machine readable fee, and it's expired, they're extending the validity of it until September 30th, 2022. So more than a year, I guess 18 months at least. So, but that's only if you paid this fee within the last year of payment. And let's see. So that really sums up that. I try to skim through that. I see there's some questions. Rosalind, what happened to essential workers? Where are we at with that? We are stagnant, unfortunately. There's no movement from last I've seen about essential workers. In fact, I believe as of last week at least, any proposal for immigration is kind of at a standstill right now, just because of the quote unquote border crisis, the migrant surge. They're focusing on that. Republican, especially Senate Republicans, want to talk about that and cause some hysteria in the media, and to say that was caused by Biden. No, it's not caused by the new president. Just because the new president doesn't mean people are coming. It's the smugglers, unfortunately, that are taking advantage of the situation and telling people on Facebook or social media that it's open borders. That's the same thing that Republicans are saying, that Biden said open borders. In fact, no, on this first day of office, he said the borders are, there's still laws that are enforced. You can't just, it's not open borders. Is basically what he said. But anyway, so as I mentioned earlier in the show, that I don't think any immigration reform will certainly not pass right this month, not in April. There could be more talk about it. I know Joe Manchin has talked a little bit more about it, so we hope he can help us out on that, since he's a moderate Democrat, which we'll have a separate video about him. And let's see here. But Rosalind, I do believe essential workers do need to be included in any proposal. I'm with you on that. Roberto, so nice to see you again. After I-130 is approved, how long will it take the NVC? Usually 1 month to get your case number. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Okay, I think you asked that before, so hopefully, I don't know. It sounds like your petition was approved already because you're asking this question. But sometimes there have been very few circumstances where NVC is very slow. So if you need help with that, give us a call. All right, Sima, you did email them. Okay, good. They said their case was previously refused, 221G. It is pending document submission. You may now schedule 221G appointment. Okay, so yeah, see if you could schedule appointment then, pending document submission. So that sounds like they're waiting for more documents possibly for you. So hopefully they already emailed you what you need to bring. You're moving to LA. Oh, wonderful. Get ready for expensive housing. Can you schedule a date for 221G? Usually depending on the consulate, but by what you say, it sounds like they want you to schedule it. So I would try to call in to see how you can schedule it, because every consulate can handle it differently. Maybe if you call in, then maybe it'll be a little faster for them to tell you. But if not, then just email back how to schedule it. All right, Rosalind, you're welcome. Okay, let's see what else. There was another bulletin for the State Department that was even more recent, and that was actually from today. And yes, it has to do with the National Visa Center having a meeting with my organization that I'm a member of, American Immigration Lawyers Association, short name AILA. So they had a meeting February 17th. So I will share all those notes. It's unfortunately too many notes for me to share right at this moment, because it is 18 pages long. But what I can share right now, a snippet of it, is that in fiscal year 2018, NVC, National Visa Center, processed 240,000 cases that were DQ, documentarily qualified, whereas fiscal year 2020, this past one, there were processed 321,000 cases that were documentarily qualified. So sharing that, a lot of cases are backlogged for the interview. They say right now the monthly volume for immigrant visas is about, the NVC creating new case numbers is about 30,000 petitions every month. And the reviews supporting forms and documents, I believe for like affidavit support, financial evidence, 77,000 per month. So that's pretty good. That's high amount. And what is the monthly volume of non-immigrant fiancé visa cases that NVC processes during 2020 fiscal year? They performed about 2,500 fiancé visa petitions per month. Just not as many people file for fiancé visa. Maybe they got scared from the 90-Day Fiancé show. I'm not sure. That's kind of dramatic, I guess, that TV show. Which, by the way, that reminds me, actually, good tip to share with you. If you come to America with a fiancé visa, that is wonderful, but you have to get married in that 90 days, right? Some people think, because I've had a couple of people call us and they say, John, I enter with a fiancé visa, but I'm no longer engaged with that person who helped me petition for me here. And unfortunately, you cannot change status to anything else. So you do have to, if you end up not getting married to that same person that petition sponsored you, I highly suggest returning back to your country. Okay, you don't want to ruin your ability to get a green card through some other way just because you decided to overstay. I highly recommend to not overstay in that situation. Because sure, and a lot of our clients overstayed their visitor visa and then got married maybe like many years later, or like a couple months later, a couple years later. With a visitor visa, that's okay. It's possible. I can't recommend anyone to overstay their visa because I'm a lawyer, but we've had cases with people who have done that and been able to adjust status, to change status. Okay, sometimes it depends if you need a waiver, family unity waiver, if you enter the country without a visa in general. But for a fiancé K-1 visa, that's not the same thing. You do have to return to your country if you did not follow through with that marriage plans. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. Many people don't know that. So that will definitely ruin your future if you do that, unfortunately, immigration-wise. Okay, back to the National Visa Center. Any notes here that I can share with you real quickly? Got a couple minutes here, but if you have questions in the meantime, welcome to post it here. I also do have I think I have the link to join the studio in the description box if you would like to do that. Okay, what else is interesting that you should know? There's a lot of good information here, so we'll have a separate video about that. There's actually a way to ask if your case can be expedited. Very limited situations where you can do that, but we have the email address for that. Apparently, lawyers have a different one to help with that, so that's good if you have a lawyer. Let's see here. But otherwise, you can submit your emergency request through the online public inquiry form, and they say that will be forwarded to the NVC's expedite mailbox. But if you do it through the public inquiry form, that will delay the process. Okay, but that is possible. Let's see what else to share with you. Man, y'all don't have too many questions today. I'm surprised. Well, let me know how you're doing. Okay. Well, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, my friends. If you like our content, how we present the information, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. As you know, YouTube will take that into consideration to share our channel with other folks. And the more people we can help, the more that we're able to to provide more information and more tips. Let's see here. Okay, well, here's some information about the staffing levels. Okay, I got about less than 4 minutes before I go to my consultations. I was thinking to do a live show yesterday. I normally do it Tuesday and Friday, but yesterday I had trial, so that took up most of my day. And man, trials are tiring, but we want to fight the hardest for our clients. Let's see. So yeah, by the way, if you have any questions, if you know someone in removal proceedings, basically immigration court, and they have a case with the court system, let us know. Share our video with them. Share our intake form link or our phone number, because I've heard of some people not showing to the court hearing in the past, and unfortunately, I mean, that means that the judge will order them removed automatically. So you always have to show up. So that's a free tip. That's easy. You do have to show up. Some people think that, oh, they don't have a lawyer, and you show up to court and the judge will, deport them that day. If it's your first court hearing, they're going to give you more time to find a lawyer. Fortunately, knock on wood, in my career, I've never heard of any other lawyer doing that to people, or just in general. But that's why you have to show up. And it does not mean, even if you are removed, deported on paper, does not mean they will pick you up and take you from the court. I've never seen anyone do that before. So hopefully that helps. Abel, nice to see you. You already filed your 485 last Jan 27. You say last, so that makes it sound like 2020. The interview officer said everything looks good, but held for review until now. You don't have any news yet. Still interview is for review. Yeah, so okay, Abel, I don't know if you mean 2020 January or 2020 this year, but if you're meaning this year, I mean, it's about the 3-month mark. We usually wait until the 120 days, so that'd be 4 months. And then we start doing the inquiries. Okay, we do the inquiries to Ombudsman Office. We inquire through USCIS in general, and if nothing produced, no information is from there from Ombudsman or USCIS, usually around 30 days. Then we start preparing and say, hey, let's consider a lawsuit, mandamus, because I just had a client a couple months ago. For employment-based residency, they waited 3 years, but he actually had 3 interviews, right? So it's okay for me to share this because I'm not revealing his name, but after 3 years, and he had a different lawyer, and some lawyers don't handle mandamus, so it's a very specialized situation. So we focus on that as well, and what we do is we file a lawsuit against government, Department of Homeland Security, USCIS. It's not telling them, hey, you need to approve my client's case. That would be great, of course. But we're just saying, hey, give us a decision. Because some people, they have a long delay on their cases, but everything looks great. There's no reason for them to be actual delay. So we're happy to help with that, Abel. If you just have some questions about that, welcome to give us a call. And I said this earlier, but if you haven't had the free 15 minutes with us, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, and you are watching on the Facebook page, you need to share this free this not so secret code, Green Card Guys, and our CARES team will know to schedule you for a free 15 minutes so we can just point you in the right direction. Okay, hopefully that helps, Abel. But have that timeline down, because it sounds like it's only maybe 30 more days to 120 days total. Dan, I actually just covered it, I think. So Dan, I've had some clients actually be scheduled for interview at the Guangzhou. But the thing is, you still, of course, will have to travel to a different country after that to avoid the 14-day situation. So hopefully that answers. Let me read your question in full. But yes, K1s in general are being scheduled. But I anticipate that it's still just going to be slower for countries like China, because that's part of that COVID restriction. So still, of course, still just a guessing game of when you can have an interview. So Dan, if what you need to do is check your website, or not your website, but the government's website, to see if interview dates do pop up for your K1. Okay. Carson, California. Oh, okay. I think Dan's from California too. We're getting a lot of folks from the East Coast and the West Coast. I think that's why I started opening my videos with that. Okay, Gonzalo, can I explain what the whole process is for adjusting for permanent resident with VAWA case? U.S. spouse. Okay, your U.S. spouse abused you. I'm sorry to learn about that in your removal proceeding. Okay, so Gonzalo, number one, file your I-360 with evidence about that abuse. It doesn't have to be a police report, but it is helpful for that. Then you have to wait the processing time for that. After you're approved for the I-360, then you could file for your 485, your adjustment of status application. But usually around the I-360, when that's approved, well, first of all, I like to ask government attorneys for the related to court if they'd be willing to close your case after you file the I-360, but more likely it's going to happen to be dismiss your court case when after your I-360 is approved. Our team likes to do the extra step, and we like to prepare that 485 application so we can share that to the government lawyer and say, look, our client's ready to go. He or she is just not going to wait around, because some people wait around even after I-360 approved and then wait, and then bad things happen. So it's better for part of our process. Most people like this is that we're on top of it even before your I-360 is approved. We have the 485 application ready to go, and sure, things can change and we'll update it later. But we like to have it ready so that once the I-360 is approved, we send all that to the government lawyer and say, hey, ma'am, sir, would you like to approve for dismissal from court? So then we have the entire case essentially get transferred and focus only with USCIS. Okay, so that is basically the process in a nutshell. Okay, let's see. I have a couple more questions. Manjeet, let's see. How many days take for U visa reopen when they receive your case March 1st, 2021? I think that's what you mean. Ranjit, that when you say reopen, that's a legal term. So, but if you sent it for the first time March 1st, 2021, then maybe you mean the receipt notice. And USCIS and USPS is taking a long time to send it, so I would expect at least 2 months for a receipt notice. Okay. Hopefully that helps. I see a couple more questions, so I'd like to answer those, and then I probably have to close out soon because I need to get to the next appointment. Let's see here. Okay, now you're saying, please explain about U visa reopen. So I can give you a past case experience. Maybe that's similar to your situation. So, U visa reopen. Maybe you mean because you already met the 3 years you already had 3 years of U visa. I don't know if you can comment in the section. Let me know if you already have the U visa. Maybe you're trying to reopen it in the sense to send in your 485 application, because some people don't know that after 3 years you can apply to become a resident. But if you wait until after 4 years total, then it's too late in general. But you can reopen it and then explain to the government why you did not file for adjustment before. I think it's a ridiculous rule for them to have a cutoff time to apply for adjustment. I really don't understand why they would do that. That's very ridiculous. Because we help a lot of people to have to reopen their situation because the previous lawyer, unfortunately nonprofit organization didn't have they probably didn't have a good system to remind people. But fortunately, I check every year about having a better system to remind our team the next step, even before the next step even happens, so that we can update the clients. Manjeet, you're from New York. Okay, great. Kareem, no problem. Let's see if we can help you. He texted a couple times before. I hope our team messaged you back. I know there's some people we're trying to get back to, so maybe that's you. Help you. You overstayed your C1D. I think you may have commented on the channel about this. I am concerned about you because C1D. C1D normally you can't adjust. You can't adjust when you have overstay C1D. So this situation, if you want our legal team to check on case law, if that's possible, then you probably have to schedule a paid consultation for us to verify, because anyone can file a petition. The government's not going to be like, oh, you got C1D, you can't, we're going to reject your case, you get your money back. No, the government loves your money. That the USCIS is funded by your money. Congress does not fund USCIS. So don't think the government will verify for you. You have to verify on your own or hire a lawyer to verify if you're eligible. Okay, but the general rule is that C1D cannot adjust to change status to resident status, green card. Okay, so unfortunately, that sounds like that's what happened. Yeah, the lawyer took your money. I love to talk very well of lawyers. I know very good lawyers. I also heard of really bad lawyers. I'm not colleagues with those kind of people. So I'm sorry to hear that you had a bad experience. But that's why we offer the free 15 minutes. That's another reason, because we understand that a lot of people have bad experiences with lawyers, and we focus on customer service. I think you could tell about that. If you check my website, you check our reviews, that's what we focus on. Okay. Abel, no problem. Let's see if we can help you. Biometrics with wife and daughter last August 2020. You and your wife received EAD. Oh shoot! I got it. I'm telling y'all, I love answering questions, but I gotta get off soon. I have a call right now. Okay, so sorry y'all. This is the last question. Rosper, I see your question, but if you can, maybe just fill out the intake form or text us, give us a call. We'll answer your question later as soon as we can. Okay. Receive EAD in SSN, but now your daughter did not receive her EAD. Okay. Well, you have to check well, it sounds like then maybe your daughter was approved. Then you need to submit an inquiry online, uscs.gov. If you go to the tools section for inquiry, they do have a section for or reason to say the card was lost in the mail. But check the case status to see if, I'm assuming the 765 was also approved for your daughter, and maybe you just don't have the card, but check that out. Because sometimes USCIS will provide the tracking number on the case status if you have the receipt number, which I'm sure you do. Okay, the second part of your question, without filing, I still have the agreement. I paid him. Oh, this is Kareem. Okay, yeah, for the lawyer from an ex-employer. Does help to go and having the interview. Okay, well, Kareem, it sounds like you need to schedule an appointment with us. I already know your situation a little bit, so just schedule a 30-minute or 45-minute. We'll see if we can offer some solutions for you, okay? Friends, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll have separate videos about congressional proposals, visa bulletin. That'll be all coming down the pipeline this coming week, okay? We have a lot of things in store for you. Until next time, please continue wearing your mask. Take care. Have a good week.